Welcome to Modern Lifekeeping, where we discuss ways to thrive in today's world. I'm your host, Lori Christine. Today we have two special guests, Dr. Elspeth Moy and Freddie Zentao Weaver. They are best-selling authors of a book called Sexual Enlightenment, a guidebook on how to create lasting fulfillment in life, love, and intimacy. Both Dr. Elspeth and Freddie Weaver have assisted thousands of couples and singles to create lasting intimacy and fulfillment in their life and relationships. They are featured on Showtime's documentary series Sexual Healing and the Emmy Award-winning NBC show Starting Over. And here they are with us today. I'm so excited to have you. And you sent me your book. I love it. It sounds like a very interesting topic. And I'd love to hear what you think would be important for our listeners to know.
Well, Lori, thank you again for having us on your show. There's so much, that we can do with sex, and most people love it either in the bedroom privately or publicly. But few people really know that you can use sexual energy to shift something in your life that seems to be that most desired thing you want to create, relationship or work that's fulfilling or a place that's inspiring. So to share with your readers or listeners today that there is more to sex than we even know.
So I love that you're bringing that and normalizing it and making it something that everybody can do.
Right, because it's already with us. It's this energy that brought us into this world. We wouldn't be sitting here with you if that was not the energy that had brought us forth. It's creative and it's pleasurable. And we can learn to cultivate and use this energy to imbue our physical health, our emotional well-being, our mental awareness, and the connection to the spiritual. This is why we titled the book Sexual Enlightenment. While that may feel like juxtapositions, but actually they belong together because we are both earthly beings and heavenly beings, both physical beings and spiritual beings or energetic beings. And in the tantric practice that we draw on heavily, which comes from East India, we learn or relearn how to connect to the energies that run through us. And sexual energy is a core energy. As I said earlier, without it, we wouldn't be alive. And so you always say we can use it for procreation.
Yeah, well, we've been procreating. That's what the energy does, creates life. And in the last 100 or so years, recreating with the development of contraceptives. And so what we're sharing is how we can co-create with this intelligent energy, the elements of which are creative, it creates life. And when we're in it, it's pleasurable. When we bring consciousness to the sexual in the distinctions that we're teaching how to use it as a meditation, creativity and pleasure start showing up in areas of life that seem completely unrelated to sex and the simple process of living. So once you start with an intention in a meditation, we, in that altered state of what happens in the sexual, more endorphin, serotonin, oxytocin, the feel-good hormones. Emotionally, we're more loving, open, vulnerable, receptive. With the distinctions of breath, energy awareness, and intention, I get more unmasked to the unconscious stuff that's running, that's giving me what I've been creating, to then start to really move away or be conscious of what I've been doing energetically and emotionally and in my stories and beliefs, to start with ease, grace, and flow, moving towards that thing I most deeply desire. And that's the practical, really, evidence of what happens with this work. We've been doing this for 20 years all over the world with couples and singles and all educational and economic and racial makeups. And anybody who's willing in a body can get and move towards using this energy. In our book, we talked about, there's a guy named Napoleon Hill who wrote a book, Think and Grow Rich, back in the 30s or 40s. And in his book, he mentioned, lucky is the person who is able to use sexual energy to create life.
Yes, he does.
He didn't talk about how to do it, but we do.
Good. And you also touched on something else when I was looking through your book that I really appreciated. The system is broken, the yin and yang and the male and female. With all of our feminism, I don't know if men know what to do with themselves. And there's that almost a helplessness and a defensiveness. And then you have women that are just done with how they've been being treated, and there's just a lack of symmetry there. So I love that aspect of your work. Do you want to talk about that for a minute?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that has been also an evolution for me, from awakening more to my feminine and returning to that. Because, in my earlier life, I wanted to become a businesswoman. And that was not a common thing. That my father was an entrepreneur, but all my sisters and brothers, I have 9 of them, they live all in Germany. None of them is really an entrepreneur, but I have gone the entrepreneur road, and that was really a dream of mine. And so I really worked hard on it, developed my masculine or yang energies, which we need to develop to compete in the marketplace. So I'm very grateful for that. However, there was also like a loss of the feminine, the softness, the flowing, the moving with it, and the compassionate, all of that. And so in growing older, that, I consciously have worked on it. And in that, what opened up was actually greater compassion for men, instead of repelling and, being resentful of the millennia when women were subordinated. I really woke up to that, why us women let it happen for so long. Where were we? And then in the 60s, 70s, women's movement, and within the last 50 years, so much has changed. Now, let's not fool ourselves. There's still a lot around where, whoever is in power likes to dictate what women can do or cannot do. But anyway, in terms of relationship, how I look at it now is like that we are living in this infinity loop together, or that is where we want to live, where at one moment one may lead and the other follows. Mm-hmm. And then the other leads and the first one follows.
Clarity.
So you can see that, and it requires actually a very particular set of skills, and both need to be able to have these skills, like listening and speaking, like speaking up. The listening is more the feminine, and the speaking up is the masculine. But I want to have that capacity just as much as Freddie wants to have it, just as much he wants to have the capacity of listening, because without listening, we don't know what goes on in the other's world.
Absolutely. And each of us has yin yang energy within ourselves. We're already whole. And
that's right.
We're conditioned to seek outside of ourselves for what we already have within ourselves. Sometimes we're too much masculine. Sometimes we're too much feminine. And really our ideal state is homeostasis, right? A balance.
That's right.
Symmetry between the two. And we can have that within ourselves and in a relationship. It's not exclusive.
It's totally possible, Laura. And what happens in the tantric practices, in all the variations there are for the man to learn to separate ejaculation from orgasm. And a lot of guys hear about tantra, they think, oh, I'm going to be this great lover, I'm going to last forever, da 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 da. Or some guys say, oh, I don't need it because I'm not a quick comer or whatever. But the thing is, it's not lasting. It's about consciously circulating this, what I call orgasmic nectar. And that requires conscious awareness, breath, energetic awareness, and intention. And once a guy starts on that path, another level of awareness starts to open up in terms of the integration of the yin yang, the masculine and feminine, that polarity as it exists. Because most guys are modeled and socialized to have two emotions that are okay to exhibit. That's fucking or fighting, excuse my French. So when we start in the practices here, they start to broaden their emotional capacity and possibility. And then that allows them to, and in the process of moving and bringing a consciousness to the sexual piece, that starts to uncouple some of that emotional stuckness. And that allows them to relate more effectively with their female counterpart.
And let's bring it back to the feminine, masculine, the yin and yang. So male sexual energy is yang. It's based in testosterone. We call testosterone the quick hormone. It rises quickly, gets easily excited, and drops quickly. So what Freddie described here is that a man can learn to breathe up that strong testosterone energy sensation, which is like the pleasurable feeling, moving it up into his heart. When he moves it up with the breath, and he can learn that it's not rocket science, but it needs to be practiced. He breathes it up into his heart, and his heart opens. Then he is in his compassionate, in his tender, and I of course feel that. I know when his energy comes from his sexual center or from his heart center, it's very different. Not that one or the other is better. It's just they embellish each other when they dance together, and he becomes more fully available. So he becomes actually more, or comes into his own balance, from which he then, can better connect with me, because he has this listening. When I feel heard, my heart opens, and then my sexual center opens. It's just the other way around. For men to bring up energy into the heart, for the woman to open the heart that opens in their sexual center, or yoni, as a woman's sexual center is called in Sanskrit, and that means say.
I love that. And that's exactly what I teach people. The formula for success is awareness, consciousness, right? Intention and vision, seeing what you want, right? And that's the same thing, but you're just applying it to sexual relationships and sexuality. I love it.
Right. And beautiful. We then support people in using that sexual energy to fuel what you just said, the vision, the intention, and awareness.
Right. That's what you started talking about in the beginning, outside of sex, right? Using it as magic it's all about our intention. Intention is like key, right? But also action steps, right? And vision, knowing what you want. Oh, I love it. Being aware.
We use the word magic only because people go, oh, it already sounds so woo-woo. But what's really woo-woo, Lori, are single-cell amoebas, multi-cell organisms, and a universe that goes on forever. And that's our lineage. We're just beginning to uncover that which we are a part of. And this sexual energy was creating life before we had language. So when when you think of like, if I was sharing these practices and you were able to tap into your own sexual energy beingness and the energetic field of it, like with yourself, and be able to memory sense recall that feeling in your day when you're about to hit somebody over the head because they took your parking space, or when we're about to fight about something or upset, with our spouses or kids or whatever, we could start to shift how we are being and the kind of energy we're putting out in the world. And if everybody was coming from that or aware of that kind of energetic awareness and field, it is possible. Peace on earth.
Imagine what if, right? It's exciting. And I think it is magic. And I think that all this work is magical because we're just learning more about ourselves than we could ever possibly know. The internet brought that to us. It's the right time. I think we're all awakening to our potential. And every one of us knows what sexual energy is. We know when people walk in the room, we pick it up. We can sense it, right? We just haven't known how to be intentional with it.
Beautifully said. Yes.
Sounds like that's what you guys are bringing to the table. And I love it. Now, you talked about having an exercise that people could do and offering it. I can post that below. If you want to talk about it for a second, that'd be great.
Yes, we have a gift for you. It's called Introduction to Sexual Meditation. It's a video class. You can pick it up, as Lori said. Just click on the link, and we introduce you to a couple of foundational practices that are the precursor that lead us towards sexual meditation. Without these foundational practices, we cannot really do sexual meditation because the body is not prepared. So these practices prepare you, and enjoy it.
Oh, sounds beautiful. I don't know what this recording is going to do for the algorithm. For my channel. I can't wait. And I'll list information about where to find your book in the comment section so people can look that up. I've really enjoyed meeting you both today and talking with you about what you're offering the world. And I look forward to working with you more in the future.
Oh, thanks, you. Lori. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you. And thank you for your work. It's very exciting.
And for yours.
Thank you.